the king of martial arts action films. Lee opened the door for guys like Jackie Chan to walk through. The films of the genre that have followed still don't seem to compare to the brilliant, seemingly effortless work Lee put forth in 1970s martial arts classics, such as Enter the Dragon and Fist of Fury, despite a short film career. Lee's influence on martial arts films and the actors who follow can't be understated. Once dubbed by V1 as the reigning queen of kick, but Jovovich might be at her best when doing just that on screen. Her breakthrough role came alongside Bruce Willis in the science fiction action thriller The Fifth Element 1997. She shined in The Messenger, the story of Joan of Arc, and became a true star in the Resident Evil film franchise. There is not a role Jolie is incapable of playing, and that includes action pictures. Her first true spin within the genre came as a titular character in 2001's Lara Croft Tomb Raider. She followed with Mr. and Mrs. Smith 1, and saw to round out the last decade, like Pam Grier. Jolie has left an indelible mark with her roles in these films, from a female empowerment standpoint, and is capable of tackling any project she takes on. Arguably the current king of action cinema, Johnson might not be relinquishing that crown for a while. If not at the theater to watch a Johnson flick, you'll probably still see a preview of one of his upcoming films pop up before the feature. From his breakthrough as the Scorpion King in The Mummy Returns, 2001 to 2019's Fast and Furious presence, Hobbs and Shaw and Jumanji, The Next Level, and even 2021's Red Notice, The Rock is not going anywhere. Inspired by the likes of Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, and Jet Li, Ja might not be a household name with casual American moviegoers, but he's blossomed into a martial arts action star internationally. He made his mainstream screen debut in The Furious 7 to a 1-5, and may not be flying, or rather fighting, under the Hollywood radar for too long. Admittedly, Hamilton is on this list solely for her role as Sarah Connor in the Terminator films, but her portrayal as the futuristic cyborg slayer in 1991's Terminator 2. Judgment Day is among the best female action roles of all time. We'll give her some credit for Danny's peak, even before she became a real star with the underrated John Carpenter-written Black Moon Rising from 1986. Grier's characters don't take any lip from anybody. Playing tough female roles, Grier, who made a resurgence in Quentin Tarantino's 1997 hit thriller Jackie Brown, has been an influence on many young female black actresses who laud her strength and empowerment. Say what one wants about Gibson's off-screen persona, the man has made some fine action movies. Gibson became a star thanks to the Mad Max series and Lethal Weapon movies, but was elevated to a Hollywood giant with Braveheart. Gibson has never been afraid to take chances with films, both as an actor or director. Ford is near the top of the list. When it comes to the most popular action stars ever, come on, the guy is part of arguably the two biggest movie franchises of all time in Star Wars and Indiana Jones, as two of the coolest characters in film history. Not to mention, he was stellar in Blade Runner, The Fugitive, and Air Force One, of course. He also starred Aston Clancy's Jack Ryan in Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger. One of Hong Kong's most beloved actors, Chow seems capable of doing it all. That includes some stellar action work, with prominent director John Woo and such mainstream hits as The Replacement Killers 1998, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon 2000, and Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End 2007. Eastwood might have a spot on the Mount Rushmore of action stars, whether it's his work in such spaghetti westerns as A Fistful of Dollars 1964 or The Good, The Bad and the Ugly, 1966 to the Dirty Harry series beginning in the 1970s and 80s classic Heartbreak Ridge. Eastwood is at home with a gun in his hand and cigar in his mouth. One of the great American actors and directors ever, Eastwood is still as cool as they come. Diesel became an international star, with his role as Dominic Toretto in The Fast and the Furious 2001. He's the undisputed face of that particular franchise, as well as that of the Pitch Black series of films, which includes the Chronicles of Riddick, the 30th franchise. As with any major motion picture star, especially leading male actors, eventually they find their way into action thrillers. The superstars tend to get a franchise, and that's the case with Damon and the Bourne family of movies. His Jason Bourne roles proved Damon could succeed in action pictures. He's also come through in similar types of films like Contagion and Elysium, though the latter was not all that successful. The first act, and arguably still the best actor, to portray the legendary James Bond character, Connery is an icon in every sense of the word, and perhaps solely for his Bond films, but there is much more to his action film resume. There's his Oscar-winning role as Jimmy Malone in The Untouchables 1987, and before that, The Man Who Would Be King in Highlander. It's only fitting that we talk action stars. After Cruise reprised his role of Maverick in Top Gun, Maverick, the part that solidified him as one of the biggest names in Hollywood with 1986's Top Gun, while Days of Thunder followed suit. Cruise's stock as an action staple rose even higher when he became the leading man, as Mission Impossible was brought to the big screen in 1996. His other notable action roles include Vanilla Sky, Minority Report, Collateral, the hilarious Tropic Thunder, Jack Reacher, and American Made. Versatility is what makes Crowe one of the greatest actors of this generation. That includes his ability to take on action roles. None more so than in Gladiator 2000, for which Crowe won the Best Actor Oscar. He went for it again with such films as Master and Commander. The Far Side of the World, 3:10 to Yuma, and Robin Hood, though, some would argue his off-screen life might be even more action-packed, as one of the better actors to take on the role of James Bond. Craig certainly gets a spot on this list. However, he had some quality action roles under his belt before taking over Bond from Pierce Brosnan in 2005, such as Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, and Munich. He also should be noted for his high-impact work in Defiance 2008, Cowboys and Aliens, and even the 2017 Heist. Comedy Logan Lucky. The Pride of Hong Kong has done a nice job of mixing his martial skills with some solid comedic timing, thus becoming one of the biggest action stars ever. It took some time for the former stuntman to enjoy mainstream success, but he ran with it when he did. Rumble in the Bronx 1995, the Rush Hour films, and even his voice work in Kung Fu Panda are some highlights of Chan's lengthy resume. Cage won an Oscar for his role as a down-on-his-luck alcoholic in 1995's Leaving Las Vegas, but he's also done well in the action genre. Mainstream hits like The Rock, Face Off, and Con Air made Cage a bona fide action star and showed a bit of his creepy side on screen. Though the 2000s weren't nearly as successful for Cage, he showed up well in the adventure thriller National Treasure in 2004. Bronson was a tough guy personified, whether playing a cop, cowboy, or soldier. Bronson, a U.S. Army veteran, thrived mostly in supporting roles until the Death Wish films began in the mid-1970s. When he was in his 50s, Bronson's work as vigilante Paul Kersey in those films turned him into a new generation of action film fans. Though not the quintessential action star, the versatile Banderas has flexed his muscle in some memorable high-impact roles, most notably as a revenge-seeking mariachi in 1995's Desperado. He also stood out in Assassins, The Mask of Zorro, and as part of the Expendables franchise. Hey, why not include his voice as the swashbuckling cat Puss in Boots?